manifestasi politik ketakutan ya.
Iya.
Kalau kita ngomong apa aja, saya gugat, saya tuntut, saya lapor polisi. Jadi mungkin nggak ada yang berani ngomong secara terbuka.
Iya.
Walaupun kita semua paham kemungkinannya besar sekali.
Untuk begitu?
Untuk melakukan seperti itu. Makanya teman-teman sebenarnya udah bikin kan, yang jaga pemilu lah, kecurangan pemilu, terus jaga suara.
Aplikasi.
Video-video yang beredar itu bisa dinaikkan ke aplikasi-aplikasi.
Nah, artinya kalau nanti suatu saat selesai ini penghitungan, kemudian itu ada video-video tadi itu jadi bukti, itu bisa dibawa kemana nanti kalau menggugat?
Ini yang unik nih. Jadi dibawanya pasti ke Bawaslu dulu.
Okay.
Ini jadi saya udah banyak diskusi sama teman-teman. Memang di ujung nanti ada Mahkamah Konstitusi kan untuk perselisihan hasil pemilihan umum. Tapi mereka akan fokus pada hasil. Biasanya mereka akan bilang, oh kalau TSM urusannya ke Bawaslu, harusnya kalian selesaikan di Bawaslu. Jadi sebenarnya saya udah diskusi dengan banyak orang, sebenarnya memang kita harus dorong supaya nanti Mahkamah Konstitusi paling tidak terlepas dari ini ya kepercayaan kita, tapi paling tidak 8 hakim, kan Pak Anwar Usman nggak boleh ikut nih kalau soal pemilu-pemiluan, jadi 8 hakim itu memutus supaya lihat TSM-nya, jangan cuma kalau istilahnya kan mahkamah kalkulator gitu, jangan cuma angka-angkanya tapi harus lihat TSM-nya. Dan sebenarnya kalau di pilkada sudah terbukti mereka bisa, makanya mudah-mudahan sekarang bisa. Kalau di Bawaslu soalnya tanda tanyanya terlalu besar.
Iya, tapi memang kalau udah lihat dari angkanya, kalaupun dia digugat ya, lalu kemudian katakanlah terbuktinya hanya 7% itu direkayasa gitu, dia tetap masih punya 52%. Iya. Tetap menang satu putaran kan berarti?
Ya, asal sebarannya.
Asal sebaran 20. Ya. Oke. Bung Robet, ini apa sih?
Apa sih?
Ini pemilu ini pemilu paling menegangkan yang saya rasakan ya. Dalam arti karena ada penguasa yang turut campur, jadi kita antusias ke TPS buat pendukung Prabowo Gibran itu ingin segera menunjukkan bahwa survei itu benar. Bagi yang tidak mendukung Pak Prabowo Gibran, kita juga excited untuk menunjukkan bahwa kecurangan harus dihentikan gitu loh. Iya kan? Ketegangan dalam pemilu di dalam demokrasi itu sesuatu yang baik atau buruk bagi negara demokratis yang sedang berkembang seperti ini?
Ini pertanyaannya soal ketegangan ya kan?
Helen Hadsell was able to win any competition she took part in. She was known as the contest queen because she had won 7 trips to Paris, boats, houses. She would basically take part in any sweepstake she read about, any contest, and she would just win. That made my documentary crew, and I asked Helen, how do you do that? And she spoke about this thing called the Silva technique. Helen, you see, was Jose Silva's former PR manager. She had the benefit of learning closely from that man. Now, Jose Silva was a radio repairman who lived in the border town of Laredo, Texas in the 1940s. He had 10 kids, and his kids were not doing very well in school. Now, Jose Silva had a crazy idea. You see, he had served in the US Army, and he was fascinated by the psychological questions that the Army psychologists would ask new recruits. So he decided to look at psychology and then look at what he knew about radio repair and figure out how he could change the mindset and the brains of his kids so they could do better in school. As a radio repairman, he knew that if you reduce the resistance of a wire, more electricity flows through it. So he wondered, what could I do to reduce the resistance in the human mind? He decided to experiment with reducing any form of resistance in his children's brain. He experimented with biofeedback. He experimented with hypnosis. And sure enough, his children's grades started improving at school. But then something astonishing happened. He was sitting down with his daughter Isabel, reading a history book and asking Isabel questions. So he would guide Isabel into a restful state of being. She would have her eyes closed. He would read her the important dates. She would be able to absorb that, and then he would ask her questions. But something strange started happening. Isabel was able to answer a question before he verbally spoke it. Now let me explain this. He would think of the question in his head, a question such as who was the 16th president of the United States. Before he could verbally say it, Isabel would answer the question, Abraham Lincoln. Jose Silva was mind blown. And so he wrote to Professor J.B. Rhine at Duke University. J.B. Rhine was famous for his research into a concept called ESP, extrasensory perception. And Silva told Rhine, "Doctor, I think I trained my daughter to have ESP." J.B. Rhine replied back in a letter and said, "No, that's absolutely not true. No one can be trained to have this. Your daughter must have been born with it." Jose Silva disagreed. So he continued training the rest of his kids to develop a high degree of intuition. So now over the next 10 years, Jose Silva trained 39 Laredo children on this approach. He documented the results. He made everything hyper-precise, and he proved J.B. Rhine wrong. This was a trainable skill. But then adults started noticing, and adults started coming to him in Laredo, Texas to get trained. Jose Silva decided to call his approach the Silva Mind Control Method. And what happened next was astonishing. A man wrote in a newspaper how after learning Silva's method, he was able to cure his persistent migraine headaches for good. The migraines just disappeared. The next class, Jose wrote in his autobiography, was absolutely flooded by people. And the Silva Mind Control Method ended up expanding all across the United States. So here's what Jose Silva discovered as the root cause of all our problems. We are powerful beings, but from the time we are born, from the education system we grow up in, from our parents and caretakers who may not know better, we take on so much negative programming. We actually suppress our inherent human abilities.
Investasi paling tenang, cocok buat ditinggal tidur nyenyak. Nah, kenalin nih produk investasi baru dari Bibit, yaitu Stable Earn. Stable Earn ini adalah produk investasi jangka pendek dengan grafik return lurus dan stabil kalau kamu hold sampai jatuh tempo. Sebagai contoh nih, kalau kita misalnya beli Stable Earn di tanggal 20 Desember 2023, maka kamu bisa dapat return 5,91% kalau hold sampai 15 Mei 2024.
My name is Alessandro Capozzi, and I'm here to tell you more about studying A-levels online with King's Inter High. Our online A-level curriculum is designed to empower students with confidence and learning, knowledge and skills that they'll use for the rest of their lives. A-levels online can really work for anyone, whatever their environment or goals. One of our recent alumni, Thomas, said as he left us for university, King's Inter High has no commute, no distractions, and is unique. In between lessons, you can go and run up a mountain, or focus on any other passions that you have.